Hello everybody and welcome, and let's start solving some questions about momentum and impulse. And let's start with this easy question. It says that for questions 1 to 3 the same conditions apply. Two identical carts, each of them with the mass of 2 kilograms, travel toward each other as shown below. Now the initial speed of cart A is 3 meters per second and the initial speed of car B is 6 meters per second. Now the carts have a head-on collision and cart A bounces back with a speed of 6 meters per second afterward. Okay, the first question says, what is the speed of cart B after the collision? Now since it says that cart A bounces back with a speed of 6 meters per second, this means that this is an elastic collision. So we can say that simply m1 v1 plus m2 v2 is equal to m1 v3 plus m2 v4. Okay, so it's a very simple equation. Now which is the first mass? Let's say that this is m1 and this is m2. What is the mass of m1? It's simply equal to 2 kilograms, because it says here in the question that both carts have the mass of 2 kilograms multiplied by the velocity of this cart. It can simply say that it's 2 multiplied by 3. Now plus m2, what's the mass of the second object? It's 2 kilograms multiplied by the velocity of the second object. Now, as we mentioned before, momentum is a vector quantity, so therefore it's affected by the direction of the velocity. And since the object is going to the left, we must say that it has a velocity equal to -6, not just simply 6. It is -6 because it's going to the left. Now, this is equal to, it says here that when these objects collided, they bounced off each other. Now this is object A and this is object B. It went to the left and this one here went to the right. So this is very important. It says that A bounced back with a speed of 6 meters per second. So A now has a speed equal to 6 meters per second. I do not know the velocity of B, which is called velocity 4, for example, or you can call it velocity B. Now what is the mass? It's 2, as we said, multiplied by the velocity of this object, which is object A. Now this time this is equal to -6. Because it's going to the left. See, now this cart is going to the left, so therefore the velocity is negative, plus the mass of the second object, which is 2, multiplied by its velocity, which I do not know and I want to find as the question requested. Now simply 6 minus 12, it's going to be equal to -12 plus 2 multiplied by v4. I can cancel the -12 with a -12 and I can say that simply v4 it's going to be equal to 3 meters per second. Actually, it doesn't need all these calculations. Since both of these objects have the same mass, let's say this one had the velocity of 3 and this one had the velocity of 6. When they bounced back, this one now has the velocity of 6, so it's common sense that this object will have the velocity of 3. It's like they exchanged their velocities, so the answer is C. Next question. It says here that if instead the collision was inelastic, okay, and the carts stuck to each other. Now it's inelastic and the carts stuck together. The speed of the carts after the collision would be, well, this is what happened. They collided with each other, object A and object B. Now they stuck to each other and now they are moving in the same direction. So this is cart A and this is cart B. Well, we know that simply m1 v1 plus m2 v2, it's going to be equal to the masses added together, m1 plus m2 multiplied by their final velocity. Let's call it v3. Now what is m1? It's simply 2 multiplied by 3 because it's going to the right, plus what is m2? It's 2 multiplied by -6 because, as we mentioned before, the object is going to the left, so it has a negative velocity. This is equal to the first mass plus the second mass multiplied by their velocity or their unknown velocity, which we call v3. So 6 minus 12, it's going to be equal to 4 v3. Okay, so -6, it's equal to 4 v3. And we can say in this case that v3 it's equal to -1.5. Okay, what does the negative sign indicate? Well, it indicates that the final velocity is negative, therefore it means that it's going to the left. And it's common sense, since they both have the same masses. This one is going at a speed of 3, this one is going at a speed of 6, so it's obvious that when they stick together they will go in the direction of the higher speed, or in other words the higher momentum. So the answer is A, which is 1.5 meters per second. Next question. It says here that a 1.2 kilogram block and a 1.8 kilogram block are initially at rest. Okay, so the word at rest here is the key to this answer. On a frictionless horizontal surface. Now they're going to mention the word frictionless a lot because they want to indicate that there are no energy losses due to friction. Now, when a compressed spring between the blocks is released. Now let's look at the object right here. They are compressed to each other. There's a spring between them, but they are initially at rest because somebody is holding this spring. So a spring was put between these two objects and they were compressed together. Now they are at rest. When a compressed spring between the blocks is released, the 1.8 kilogram block moves to the right at a speed of 2 meters per second. What's the question? What is the speed of the 1.2 kilogram block after the spring is released? Actually, this is a elastic collision, or it's very much similar to an elastic collision. So we can say that M1 V1 plus M2 V2, it's equal to M1 V3 plus M2 V4. Now, remember that both objects at the beginning, they are not moving. So we can say that the velocity of 1 is 0. The velocity of 2 is also 0. But the velocity of the 1.2 kilogram object, which is going to the left right now, it has a velocity, but I do not know the amount of the velocity. So I'm going to say, let's call this is 1 and this is 2 so we don't mistake. Now, M1, it's equal to 1.2 kilograms multiplied by the velocity, which I do not know because it's unknown, plus M2, which has a mass of 1.8 kilograms multiplied by the velocity. Now it has a velocity equal to 2 meters per second, and since it's going to the right, we can say that it is positive, so we can just simply multiply it by 2. Okay, now 1.2v plus 1.8 multiplied by 2. So we can say that 0 is equal to 1.2, the velocity, or we can call it V3, sorry, which is the velocity of the object after it was released, plus 3.6. Now, I can move the 3.6 at the other side by subtracting 3.6 from both sides. And I can say that negative 3.6 is equal to 1.2 multiplied by V3, which is unknown. If I divide both sides by 1.2, I will get that V3 is equal to negative, V3 is equal to negative 3 meters per second. Now again, the negative sign right here, it's only an indication of the direction, and it's common sense. It's going to this direction.